Howdy, everpony. I'm just gonna jump right into this to chapter 5 of Inner Demons by Sapphire Libera 5. Up school. Sapphire Libera 5. 3, dang it. I almost had it. Anyway, I know it. I've got 5 on the brain. Alright, what? Chapter 5. What am I to you? Brownie points for anyone who can comment where that's from. What am I to you? Am I a joke? Anyway. It had been 3 days since Trixie's visit, and Twilight was beginning to wear down mentally. Bad dreams every night, evil sensations growing in her heart, even a sort of arrogance at Trixie's statement. It was hard not to feel that way. Her, the strongest pony in Equestria. The thought was just amazing. Maybe she could even destroy... What? No, she didn't want to do that. She wasn't a monster. She didn't care what that book said. She was not going to become that. Sorry, Minnesotan accent slipped my words together. She continued her walk through Ponyville, noticing the number of ponies staring at her. It wasn't like before, though. This time she couldn't read their expressions. There was something else, too. It was all quiet in Ponyville, and still, as if everything was at a standstill. Twilight ran over to Sugar Cube Corner and saw Mr. and Mrs. Cake standing at the entrance. "Excuse me," Twilight began. "Is everything okay? Every pony is acting—" The Cakes immediately shut the door in front of her. Strange. She looked around, now confused, as every pony began to shut their doors and their eyes met hers. She began to make her way to the town square, where she saw her friends standing in a small circle, looking up. "Girls!" She came running over to them. "What's going on here? Why is every pony acting so afraid?" She noticed that Fluttershy and Rarity looked at her for a second, then turned away as if shamed. "That's weird. Why'd they look at her like that?" "Dash, Pinkie Pie," she said, now going to the pair. "Fluttershy and Rarity are acting weird. Do you know what's gotten into them?" Pinkie Pie looked at Twilight, shocked, but then Rainbow Dash put her foreleg on Pinkie's shoulder and shook her head sternly. They continued to look up. Twilight was getting scared. Why were her friends treating her like this? She saw Applejack looking front and center, as if she was ready to fight. "Applejack, what the hell is going on?" Twilight said, now looking upset. "Every pony is acting like they're afraid of me, and they keep giving me strange looks." Applejack looked at Twilight with a dark expression. "Twilight," she said softly. "Citizens of Ponyville," a voice called up from... Wait. Yes, citizens of Ponyville, a voice called out from Town Square Monument. "It pains me to say it, but this is your final day of freedom." The pony was speaking was shrouded in darkness. The clouds above her were gathering in a spiral. The only thing Twilight could make out was that she was a unicorn. A unicorn. No way. The reign of Celestia is over. No longer will this be a world of light, neither will this be a world of darkness. True power lies in between, where neither light nor shadow can exist. I decree this will be such a world from this day forward, and I shall be your queen. Now bow to your new queen." At that moment the sky turned into apocalyptic red, and Twilight finally got a glimpse of the pony who was talking. It was herself. "No," Twilight said, backing away. "That's not possible. I'm right here. That's not me," she cried out. She looked around and saw her friends gathering round her with scary expressions. "Girls, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" "So all this time you were plotting to conquer all of Ponyville?" Rarity asked harshly. "What? No, I wasn't," Twilight tried to defend. "We helped you to stop Nightmare Moon, when all along you were even worse than she was," Rainbow Dash spat. "How could you say that?" Twilight asked, now hurt. "You know me, Rainbow Dash." She turned to Fluttershy. "Fluttershy, talk to them." "I'm so sorry, Twilight," Fluttershy said sadly. "I can't believe this, Twilight," Pinkie Pie said sadly. "I thought we were all friends." "We are friends," Twilight cried. "I don't understand." "Save it!" Twilight cried out, scaring Twilight. "There's only one way to put an end to this. I'm sorry, Twilight, but we ain't got no choice." She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Were her friends talking about killing her? "You see who your friends are? They'll turn on you, just like this." "No, no, no!" Twilight said, and turned and ran away. After her, Applejack called before the five of them gave chase. All of a sudden, Twilight noticed that Ponyville was a maze. She was lost among the buildings when Pinkie Pie jumped out of a corner. "Twilight!" Pinkie Pie called out, and Twilight screamed and ran down another corner. As she ran, two shadows were keeping in pace with her. She looked up and saw Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash above her. Rainbow dive-bombed towards her, trying to tackle her, but she moved out of the way and continued to run. As she ran, Fluttershy landed in front of her. "Fluttershy, please," Twilight urged. "I'm so sorry," she cried, dashing towards Twilight. Then, as strange as it was, she began fighting Twilight. She didn't want to hurt her friend, so Twilight did her best to dodge the attacks. "Why are you doing this to me? I'm your friend." "That's what we thought." Rarity. Really sorry about this, guys. Rarity called out behind Twilight. She turned and saw Rarity stomping the ground, preparing to charge. "But clearly you're nothing but a monster." "Of the worst things that could ever happen, this is the worst possible thing." Sorry I had to do that. The statement hurt Twilight more than anything. Rarity charged, and Twilight saw Fluttershy charging as well. Twilight jumped away right at the last moment, forcing the two friends to hit each other in the skull, then ran forward. After a few seconds, some pony kicked her hard in the side, kicking her to the ground. She looked up and saw Applejack standing over her, killing intent in her eyes. "This is just how it's gotta be," Applejack said, trotting closer to her. "Queen of Darkness, these so-called friends have betrayed you. They seek your destruction." Twilight looked around and saw her friends surrounding her, each one looking ready to kill. "Stop this! Stop it!" Twilight screamed, now crying. "The only way to stop this is for you to accept me into your heart." "No, I won't! I won't!" "You will. You have no choice. Twilight Sparkle." She heard a familiar growl. In her fear, she slowly looked up, and she saw it. The same grotesque black dragon that haunted her night after night. It was looming over her, ready to claim her. "Wake up!" Twilight called to herself. "Wake up! Please wake up!" She tried and tried, but couldn't wake up. Surrounded by her friends, there was no escape either. She couldn't run, and she couldn't shock herself awake. "Help me!" Twilight screamed as the beast mouth came down, ready to consume her. "Twilight! Twilight!" Spike called, shaking her as hard as he could. Eventually he reached over and splashed her with a glass of water, instantly waking her up. For a second she just sat there in shock, until eventually she broke down and cried. Spike was worried about her, and slowly made his way back to her bed. "I did what you asked me to," he said sweetly. "You told me to wake you up if you didn't answer, so—" She wouldn't stop sobbing, so Spike started getting scared. "What's wrong?" "I can't keep running," Twilight sobbed. "They're getting worse. Next time I might not even be able to wake up." "Then I'll just have to keep waking you," Spike proclaimed. "I don't know what got you so upset, but if I can help by waking you up, then I will. I promise, Twilight." "Spike," she said through her tears. Spike sat on the bed next to Twilight and held her. That was all he could do at the moment. She was beyond comfort, but maybe she could be reminded she wasn't alone. This was getting out of hand. She was tired. She was tired of not knowing anything. She felt like she needed to talk to some pony. And who better than her mentor, right? She had Spike send a letter to Princess Celestia asking her if she could ask a few questions. She didn't want to involve Spike or any of her friends until she knew what was going on. And she didn't want to admit it, but that dream made her feel funny about her friends. Celestia's response was almost instantaneous. She said not only would she speak to Twilight, but also she was sending a carriage to Ponyville to bring her over to Canterlot. It was touching that Celestia was taking this so seriously. She always took Twilight so seriously. So many S's. Challenging my accent. But if I conquer this, more power to me, right? A few hours later, Twilight arrived in Canterlot. She had asked Spike to stay behind and run the sorry, I know what's happening. She asked Spike to stay behind and run the library while she was gone, but also so she could talk to Celestia personally. As she walked, her thoughts turned back to the dream she had. Every pony was staring at her if she was a monster. She felt insecure, as if the ponies were staring at her. "Twilight?" she heard from the sky. Twilight reluctantly looked up and saw Rainbow Dash flying to her. "Celestia, why now?" Wait a second, what? Her friends are in Canterlot? A few hours later, Twilight arrived in Canterlot, but her friends are here. I guess they came with her. Hey, Rainbow Dash, Twilight said, trying to keep her inner contempt hidden. No, here we go. Hey, Rainbow Dash. Twilight said, trying to keep her inner contempt hidden. Apparently it didn't work, because Rainbow Dash looked at Twilight more seriously. You okay? Pinkie Pie said. No, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm tired. This is the last one I'm making tonight. You okay? Pinkie said you were acting weird last time she saw you, and you haven't been outside for a while. Of course, Pinkie spoke to Rainbow Dash. Those two were inseparable. If either one of them were lesbian or bi, as far as she knew neither of them was, they would have to be married by now. I'm fine, Rainbow, Twilight said darkly. She didn't want to talk to Rainbow Dash right now. Rainbow Dash looked at Twilight for a second, then shook her head. Nope, I ain't buying it, she said. Rainbow Dash, Twilight groaned. Seriously, what's wrong? You know you can tell us anything, right? No, Twilight said, looking away. I need to go, Rainbow Dash. Go? Where are you? None of your business! Twilight shouted on impulse, instantly catching herself when she noticed Rainbow Dash's shocked expression. I'm sorry, she said, running away. It was the second time she did that to one of her friends, and she knew that Rainbow Dash would be hurt, but she had to talk to her about it later. Right now, the most important thing to her was getting to Princess Celestia. Twilight made it to the castle and breathed a sigh of relief. Safety. Now nothing stood in between her and Princess Celestia. She walked through the halls of the castle, knowing exactly where the princess waited for her. The guards did not greet her, but she ignored The guards did greet her, but she ignored most of them. All she wanted to see was the mare who had been a mother to her for so many years. When she made it to Celestia's study, for a second she just stood there at the door. When she opened it, she saw Princess Celestia sitting on a large red pillow, reading. She was there. She could make it all better. Just her presence made Twilight's problems melt away. Celestia looked up from her book and met eyes at Twilight. Oh, Twilight, Celestia said with a worried expression. What's troubling you? Princess, she said slowly. She walked in for a few seconds, but her walk turned to a run and she met Celestia's warm wing embrace. My beloved student, you're troubled, Celestia said softly. So many S's. Talk to me. After calming down, Twilight told Princess Celestia everything. About the dreams, about the lack of control, about the book. She told the princess about Trixie and that her being the strongest pony besides Celestia. She was ready for any kind of reaction. Shame, shock, disbelief, even contempt. The reaction she got was none of them. Oh dear, Twilight said with a sigh. Twilight was confused. Princess? Celestia used her magic to bring a copy of the prophecies of the old world to them. Is this the book, Twilight? Yeah, it is, Twilight said, looking at Celestia. Why? Celestia opened the book and began reading. It is prophesied that on the last day of the 20th millennium, the Queen of... Okay, we've already heard this bit, and I need to hurry through quickly. Princess, how do you know which story it was? I told you I would never lie to you, but I prayed this day would never come. She got up quickly and walked off for a bit. Princess, I mean no disrespect, but what are you talking about? For a long time, Princess Celestia was silent. I'm sorry, Twilight. I should have shared this with you sooner, but I was afraid of the impact it would have on you at such a young age. Wait, what do you mean? I had planned to have this conversation with you when you turned 21, but I hoped that sending you away would kill the darkness within you. What was that supposed to mean? It'll make sense when you have the full story, Celestia said, deep breath before she continued. I know all the stories in that book. That's how I knew about my sister's return and how to stop discord. It was written in this book by a group of powerful seers who knew what would happen. I knew I would need a guideline after becoming ruler of the sun, and I'm gonna cut it off there because there's almost nothing left. But I'm gonna start the next story with that story and then further in. So I'm tired. If anybody has any tips for reading out loud fanfics, and if anybody would be willing to help make these a little bit more popular, spread these around, I really like this story, and as you can tell, it's starting to get good. So yeah, as per usual, this is Lonely Brony signing off. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is Lonely Brony signing off.